With social contact almost exclusively now limited to our families and conversations with my dog seeming ever more appealing, how can we stay sane over the coming months with working from home the new norm? How can we retain some remote level of productivity? And perhaps most importantly, how can we flip the current narrative of doom and panic and instead perhaps extract some of the benefits that come from working from home?
Come on then, Gully. Should we go for walkies? Come on then.
Everything right now feels, well, pretty apocalyptic, and it seems as though things are only going to get further and further from normal life, sapping our motivation and general sense of well-being. So I'm going to share just a few ideas as to how I plan to stay emotionally, mentally, and physically fit during isolation, and also how I plan to make the most of not having to commute and having just a little bit more freedom to manage my own time. I'm going to be starting my day exactly as I would if I were going into work or into law school. That means getting up, getting showered, and this might be an excellent opportunity to imagine that you're on the train into work. I'll then put on some clean clothes, and I would definitely recommend putting on a shirt if you normally wear a shirt into work. However, note that trousers are optional when conference calling.
Studies have also shown that masks are pretty unlikely to be effective when you're sat on your own.
Without having to rush to leave, you can have a much more leisurely breakfast than you're used to. Check in on your investments, watch a bit of Bloomberg. Actually, don't check in on your investments, watch Netflix. Now, a clear and precise schedule with breaks built in is important in general, but it's all the more important now that we have this reduced urgency with deadlines likely having been postponed. I mean, my exams have just been cancelled until at least July. And now that we've been removed from that environment of positive peer pressure, where fellow workers or students around us are working really hard. And even more so now that positive peer pressure has likely been replaced with the inevitable distractions that come from working from home. That could be washing that needs putting on.
God damn it.
Admin that you've been putting off. Or the temptation to head out and stockpile resources ahead of your 14-day total lockdown. Having a rigid plan for your time will help you keep distractions at bay, but crucially, it may also enable you to achieve an even deeper level of focus than that possible when you're at work or at school, because you're away from people who disturb your state of work flow, and because you don't have to go to unnecessary or unproductive meetings and classes. Make sure you set clear boundaries for family members or the people you live with, and if at all possible, actually establish spatial division between you and them. In the day that I spent working from home yesterday, this clear temporal division in my calendar combined with this spatial division through establishing a tidy and well-organized workspace actually made me, I think, more productive than I am when I'm physically in law school. Plus, if you feel like you're lacking that positive peer pressure from people working really hard around you, technology may well be the answer. I found that a combination of an app like Hold or Forest, which temporarily block your phone while you're working, and FaceTime work sessions with friends have made me feel way more productive, and again, I've really gained that positive peer pressure during those sessions. It also means that if, for example, you spend an hour working alongside a friend in silence on FaceTime as though you were in the room together, then when you come to a break at the end of that hour session, you can spend 10 minutes chatting to someone, get away from your desk, go and FaceTime over on your bed or whatever, and you can have some form of socialization. And for me, I find that socialization has such a huge impact on my mood and general mental well-being. And so I'm staying ultra conscious, I guess, of making sure I keep some form of social interaction alive. And I think technology allows us all to do that. Now, it's definitely a good idea during breaks to get up, stretch, maybe go outside for a quick walk, and I would really recommend maybe set yourself the goal, for example, of doing 10 minutes every day of yoga or Pilates classes on YouTube. And for me personally, I've been crazily busy with law school recently. I've also been commuting for around 2 hours a day. And so really I'm seeing this kind of coronavirus outbreak as, and again, trying to draw some positives from it, an opportunity to do more exercise than I have been. Previously, I'd set myself the goal of doing exercise just twice a week, and I'm now upping that to 5 times a week. So yeah, we'll see how I get on, but I think it's definitely wise to set yourself a few new goals at this kind of time of uncertainty so that you have something positive to focus on, and so that you feel like something positive might come from this mess. These goals don't have to be like formal exercise or anything that's kind of self-improvement-ish. It could be something as simple as just going for a daily walk with your family who you're now stuck at home with. Alongside exercise, diet is obviously really important, and this is assuming that you can actually get your hands on some food at the moment. I know the world has gone completely crazy, but for me personally, I'm trying to cut down my coffee intake to no more than 2 cups a day. I'm also using a zinc spray that was recommended by Tim Ferriss called TheraZinc, and I'll link to it in the description. To bolster my immune system, and I'm also trying to make sure I'm eating plenty of fruit and vegetables, especially vegetables and fruit containing vitamin C, again good for the immune system. Finally, if you find yourself with some time on your hands, let's be honest, that seems pretty likely in the coming months. Rather than trying to complete Netflix or Call of Duty or even the entire Harry Potter series, maybe try to do something that leaves you feeling a little more fulfilled and frankly less bored. You know, unlike when the Spanish flu hit just over 100 years ago, we're now so lucky there are so many different options available to us at the touch of a button. You can read, you can learn to code on YouTube, you can call that friend that you haven't spoken to for months, you can go for a run, you can research something, whether it's the stock market or potential future jobs, or you could improve your mental well-being through a meditation app like Headspace or the emotional fitness app Fika. Whatever you do, give your days a really clear structure. And with whatever time is left over, use that time to see family. And yes, have some downtime, but also try and build in stuff that you can do that you'll find fulfilling, and so that you can look back on this period in a couple of years' time as at least of some value. And who knows, this may be my last video in a while. I may not be able to upload any more videos once Trump shuts down the internet, because he's trying to prevent the spread of the virus. Sorry, that really was bad. But no, in all seriousness, look after your health, look after and make sure that the people around you are okay, make sure that family and friends aren't lonely or struggling, and try to stay optimistic through what is a deeply unsettling time. I wish you all the best, and I will speak again very soon, presuming Trump doesn't in fact shut down the internet.